let's go ahead and get this unboxed.
We get the Mix Fold 4 Leica and HyperOS branding to the front. Now here the variant is indicated along with some logos. There's Dolby Vision, high-res audio wireless. What I've bought is the base 12256. Anyways, let's go ahead, remove the plastic, and let's go ahead start with the actual unboxing part of the unboxing. So the first thing, there's this card. Then we get Xiaomi's 4th generation foldable, the Mix Fold 4. My first impressions, the phone feels very sleek. Now as you can see, I've bought the white version. Xiaomi also offers 3 other color SKUs. There's black, there's blue, and a special dragon scale fiber edition which has ceramic fiber to the back. Anyways, coming back to the box, there's a Type A to Type C cable, orange accents, 67 watt hypercharge adapter. On the other side, there's this black insert which houses some regular literature and the case. So this case, it's a little interesting. It's plastic, but it has some texture to the back. And the kickstand from the last time, that's gone. Note that it doesn't protect the hinge like say the case on the Honor Magic PS3.
No, I'm not complaining, I'm just pointing it out. And if this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4eTech, and let's continue.
Now the first thing you notice when you pick this phone up is how light it is, especially for a foldable. I mean, just see this. I don't think I really need to say much more now, do I? Xiaomi has also provided an IPX8 rating this time, which is a welcome addition. The Mix Fold 4 is just 4.59mm thick when unfolded and 9.47mm thick when folded. These numbers are bettered only by the Honor Magic V3, which we will take a look at pretty soon. Now, despite being low on thickness, with some smart engineering, Xiaomi's managed to pack in a 5100 mAh battery. And with the included 67 watt charger, you get about 30% charge in 10 minutes. A full charge takes less than an hour. There is also support for wireless charging at up to 50 watts. Now the build is sleek, yes. This causes that camera bump to look even more pronounced. In fact, there are 3 layers here. The first is the white of the phone curving in. Then we have this metal ring, and finally glass with a diamond pattern etched underneath covering the quad camera array, which we will talk about in just a little bit. Now the display and the back, not only do they curve along the edges, but even to the top and bottom. The corners are rounded and so is the metal frame. There's a lot of curves on this phone. Xiaomi also says there's a lot of carbon fiber being used internally for support. Add to it, they've totally redesigned the hinge, and this is largely how they've been able to cut down the weight so much. So folded, unfolded, the Mix Fold 4, it feels quite comfortable. It can take 2 nano SIM cards, and there are stereo speakers. They are placed opposite to each other, so no matter how you hold the phone, you can't cover both of them up at the same time. But that also means when you're gaming, no matter how you hold the phone, you are gonna be covering up one speaker. What do you guys think about this design choice? Let me know in the comments. Talking about gaming, people don't usually buy foldables to game on. Now that's because due to the thinness of these phones, thermal management more often than not is an issue. The Mix Fold here, for example, it's powered by Qualcomm's flagship Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but you don't actually get the full power of the 8 Gen 3 here. Just see the benchmark numbers. And 3D Mark stress tests won't even complete. Okay, forget the theory. Now when you look at practical use cases like playing a game, you are going to be noticing more frame drops and stutters than you normally would on non-foldable 8 Gen 3 phones.
Now this actually makes me wonder, do we really even need top spec chips for foldables? Because with normal usage, even multitasking, something like a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 on the Honor Magic VS3, it's going to perform exactly the same. So why not go for that trade-off and save a few bucks? What do you think? Should brands launch foldables without flagship chips and drop the price? Let me know in the comments below. And okay, let's now move on to something that the foldables are great at, the display.
On the outside, Xiaomi is still using a 6.56-inch LTPO AMOLED panel, the C8 Plus. The aspect ratio and resolution remain unchanged, and yet the width has been slightly cut down. Also, the glass covering the display, instead of Victus 2, we now have Xiaomi's own Dragon Crystal glass, also known as Longjing glass. And the peak brightness, it's supposed to have gone up. Xiaomi claims 3000 nits for HDR, 1700 under HPM, though in my testing, my phone output only about 1150 nits. Now opening the Mix Fold up, the panel on the inside is a Samsung E7. It's almost the same size as the one we saw on the Mix Fold 3. The pixel density though, it's gone up from 360 ppi to 418. And just like the outer panel, this one is also an LTPO AMOLED. It also has support for HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision, but this it's covered by ultra-thin flexible glass. Now I do like how the borders are symmetric. The crease, it isn't very prominent. It's there, sure, but you don't notice it when you're looking at the display head-on. And Xiaomi's HyperOS provides you everything you need to multitask with ease. You can run two apps side by side, flip them, have floating apps on screen. And as you do all this, the Mix Fold 4, it continues to run smooth, it continues to be responsive, apps launch quick, there's little to no lag in the UI, the overall experience felt refined. Now for example, when you're playing a game with the screen open, you can just fold it and continue playing, or do the reverse of it. Now say if you want to just play on half the screen with the screen open, maybe because the game isn't scaling well, Xiaomi lets you do that. You even get to choose where to position the game. It's little things like this that I feel HyperOS has done well. Take the fingerprint scanner for example. It's built into the power key, it's quite accurate. You can have it either unlock on press or touch. You can even additionally have an action mapped to double touching that button. Like here, I have it set to turn the flashlight on or off. You can double tap the back as always. Now these features aren't unique to the Mix Fold 4, but it's nice that they're there. There's also some AI functionality like Eraser 2.0. Say I want to remove this vehicle from this image. Boom, it works well and it's pretty quick. Talking about AI kicks in when you're at 30x zoom or higher. And yes, it straightens up a few lines, makes things a little sharper. But at 30x, I feel we are already in the not really usable territory. I wish it would kick in a little earlier. By the way, the sensor that's shooting all this, it's the 10 megapixel super telephoto, a Samsung S5K 3K1, a 1x3.75 inch sensor paired with an f2.9 lens with OIS that gets you 5x optical zoom. The results are pretty good, images were well detailed. I kind of like what this sensor does. Now it's worth noting that the minimum focus distance here is 30 centimeters, so you can shoot cool telephoto macro shots like this. Now there is a reason why I call this the super telephoto. Now that's because there is another telephoto camera here, a 50 megapixel 1x2.61 inch sensor from OmniVision, the OV60A. This one's paired with a floating f2 lens. While it's predominantly meant for portraits, and it does do that well, it has a minimum focus distance of just 9 centimeters. So it lets you shoot macros like what you're seeing on screen right now. Seems to do a pretty darn good job. Then there is a 12 megapixel ultrawide, the OmniVision OV13B. This is a 1x3.06 inch sensor paired with an f2.2 ultrawide lens. Does a good job of fitting more into the frame. Colors aren't perfectly matched, but it does do well. And finally, the primary, this is the Light Fusion 800, a 1x1.56 inch sensor paired with another optically stabilized lens, f1.7. It shoots crisp images with excellent dynamic range. Just look at the shadows in this scene. Even under low light, it continues to impress. I mean, it's not ultra flagship levels, it's definitely a step below, but I'd say the performance, it's getting pretty close to what you'd get out of a, say, Xiaomi 14 Pro, at least in my initial impressions. Now for video, you can shoot 8K at up to 24 FPS and the footage was good, crisp, detailed. For selfies, you get a pair of identical 16 megapixel shooters and hole punches on both displays. And while they do well for stills, sadly they do top out at 1080-60 for video. Well, at least in this case, it's not too much of an issue since you can shoot 8K selfie video if you want to. So I guess that's Xiaomi's Mix Fold 4. This phone starts at 89.99 RMB in China, which converts to a little over 1 lakh rupees or a little under $1250 US.
So what do you think about the Xiaomi Mix Fold 4? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Ash out.